We have no idea where the hell Hassan Reddick is, but in the meantime, the New York Jets must find other solutions, and there is one in New York Giants land. A trade idea? Let's get into it. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're just fucking wrong!
What's going on, beautiful people? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. We've got a lot to get into. I've got a Jets-Giants trade idea that you can read more information about in the YouTube description down below. Plus, we'll get into the latest injury report for Jets-Broncos, and a player is no longer on a pitch count for the New York Jets. Not too shabby. We'll get into all of that jazz here on the program on a Saturday. But we are on the weekend, so we must bring in my cohort as we do every single weekend. And it is none other than the senior, a.k.a. Eston Zone, starting now here on a Saturday. Good morning, Pop.
Good morning, Boy Green. How's it going today?
It's going great. Let me flip the light switch real quick for old Johnny Boy. We are 32 members away from Johnny Boy getting his emoji. So, guys, make sure you join the Boy Green Coffee Club if you'd like to support the show. And every new member we get gets us closer and closer to unlocking new emojis where we get to honor our great listeners. And, hey, maybe, just maybe, you out there could be the next emoji that is utilized and immortalized in this form here on the YouTube show. Plus, of course, you get access to the Discord channel where the party keeps going. It's an app you can download on your phone where you talk with fellow Jet fans throughout the entire week. It's a cool community which you guys can become a part of. Again, that is the pinned comment right now on YouTube, how you can join the Boy Green Coffee Club. It's also in the YouTube description down below. And one final option, gifting memberships, which I just checked this morning, is back available. It should be for everybody with no issues. If you like to gift a membership and you're watching on YouTube, hit that money sign, hit the final option that says gift memberships, and you have the option of gifting as many memberships as you and your heart desires, and you could do that to support the show and help others get access and perks to all the wonderful things here on the Boy Green Coffee Club. Without further ado, oh boy, right off the top, let's go to our favorite Austrian Jets fan, baby. Number one in our hearts and number one in the great country of Austria. NFL Draft Cards. Boom shakalaka. W. Charles, you've just been gifted a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Thank you to our favorite Austrian Jet fan out there in the universe. One of our favorite Boy Green Coffee Club members. I must update the sheet. We're getting closer and closer, baby. We're now 31 members away from Johnny Boy, so we're getting closer and closer to this happening. We're chipping away every day, which is terrific. So shout out again to our favorite Austrian Jets fan. Let's go. Okay. Are you a fan of the country of Austria, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
There we go. I'm not sure if you had a strong take on that, but
I did not. I thought, it seems like you're missing a few letters. I thought you were talking about Australia.
Whoa. That could offend our great Austrian listeners and listener, number one Austrian Jets fan there, but we could get to that perhaps a little bit later. Shout out for that support. We appreciate it. Here's my idea. I've been flipping a couple ideas lately. Ooh, what about Jadeveon Clowney? Ooh, what about this guy or this guy? Yannick Ngakoue. I did that a couple of weeks ago, but I've got a new trade idea, Pop. I'm going to throw it at you, and then you just tell me whether you hate it or love it or hate it, as you normally do all my ideas. But, maybe a blind squirrel can find a nut. So here we go. Again, this is also, if you guys would like to follow along, it's in the YouTube description as well. I wrote it up in a column for Heavy.com. So ESPN NFL insider Dan Graziano created an article, almost like a trade block article of guys that could be available and what their potential landing spots would be. And Dan Graziano, he listed the Jets as a potential landing spot for New York Giants pass rusher Aziz Ojulari. And he's entering the final year of his contract. Yeah, there you go. Hey, now. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract. Now, the entire contract is $6.7 million, which isn't that bad. He was a second-round pick, 50th overall when he entered the league. But, He's only making $1.58 million this season. It's prorated, so if the Jets acquired him, it'd be even less than the $1.58 million, because obviously players are paid on a week-to-week basis, so it'd be even cheaper than that. So you have a chance to get a young pass rusher who's only 24 years of age. He'd come dirt cheap. He'd come under $1.5 million for the rest of the season. He's a guy that has production. He's collected 17 sacks, 29 quarterback hits, 15 tackles for loss, and 87 tackles. I know you're a tackles guy. And so all of those statistics since coming into the league back in 2021. And people always ask, well, Paul, why would the Giants trade this guy if he's as good as you say? Well, they've got Brian Burns. They got Dexter Lawrence. They got Kayvon Thibodeau, and pass rushers are expensive. So they seem to be prioritizing other names, which means it would open the door for Aziz to potentially go to a new team and have a bigger role. He's playing in the fewest amount of defensive snaps that he's ever played in his career so far this season. So the Giants seem like they're kind of phasing him out, quite frankly, and that could be a golden opportunity for the New York Jets to kind of jump on this thing and get a pass rusher. And while most of the time you don't want to, 38% of the snaps, by the way, for Ojulari so far this season, which is by far a career low, most of the time you don't want to get a rental because then you got to pay him. Hassan Reddick, but we could save that conversation perhaps for a different day. But in this particular case, the Jets should not mind a rental because they're trying to win the Super Bowl this year. If they get Ojulari and he collects, I'm making this number up, 5, 6, 7 sacks, and he leaves, okay, you're going to get a comp pick in the future, and your pass rush was a little better than what it was. Why wouldn't you want to do it? So there's the plan. Young guy, Aziz Ojulari, young, cheap, pass rushing extraordinaire, and then if he's great and you want to re-sign him, you'll have that option before he hits free agency. If not, you let him go, let the birdie go out the window, and you just try to replace your pass rushers in different lights. Thoughts?
Well, I'd like to say, and hopefully we're not recording this.
Yeah, it's streaming live at
see.
people
I
right
see.
now. Yes,
well, I thought it was just us talking.
No,
I would say that for the first time in a long time,
maybe
that
ever.
was a rational, intelligent, articulate proposition.
Wow, thanks, Billy Madison, professor. Wow.
And we are all not stupider for having heard it.
Wow,
but,
I've never heard the
and
reverse
I would
of
tell you this. I'm going to take your proposal a step further.
Oh, well.
And I don't know how it works. Like most of the time, you might hop on a jet, you might get the bat line. I think Joe Douglas could just waddle down the hallway, to talk to the Giants. Right, it's the same building, right?
Yeah.
So if they could get this done, this would be a slam dunk. This the day they do this, then you could go and chisel the last little bits out of the headstone on Hassan Reddick's Jets career. I would share that with you. Aziz, top to bottom, is a better long-term prospect than Reddick. No questions asked. They offer a middle draft pick for him.
Yep.
They sign him immediately. The kid, you immediately sign him to like a 4-year deal. He's gonna take less than you need, and I'll tell you why he's better than Hassan Reddick in about 2 ways. He's better because you know what he's known for?
No. What's that?
He's known for being a teammate. He's known for being that guy in the locker room. He's known for not being a distractor, detractor, or talking trash. Right? Have you heard anyone? And it's still New York. It's not like he's out in Arizona and he's running his mouth and nobody knows because a tree falls in the woods. You hear it. You don't because nobody cares.
Hey, that's kind of funny. Actually, his brother, BJ Ojulari, he plays for the Cardinals. That's a good call. Nice.
It was. I knew that, but thank you. His brother's currently on injured reserve. But anyway, and his brother was actually drafted 8 spots ahead of him in the 2023 draft. So anyways, I digress.
Yes.
So beyond that, and I would tell you the character is the reason to go after him. And you would make sure the sign and trade immediately. You wouldn't go back over here. And this kid is going to take a reasonable amount of money. He's had some success. Yes. I think 17 sacks in his career, and it's only been 3 years.
Yeah,
But
the
I'll
best
tell
one
you,
was his rookie year. That was 8
that's right,
sacks.
8 sacks. But pillar to post, let's break it down.
Yep.
And it also, I will point out that the SEC is they're all proud of themselves, how great they are, blah blah blah. I'll tell you how stupid they are. In 2020, Aziz, last year in college, he was number one in the SEC in sacks.
Oh, cool.
He was number one in forced fumbles in the SEC, and he
That's
was
good.
number 2 in tackles for loss. That got him a second team SEC spot, all SEC team. I could go back over that again. Number 1 in sacks, number 1 in forced fumbles, and number 2 in tackles for loss. He was in the top 10 and the top 5 in the NCAA in those 3 categories. But that only got him on the second team SEC. But anyways, figure that one out. The next thing I would share with you, and I think it's a scheme thing. I think he comes in, again, I've said it many times before. When you plug him into this defense, this is not the Giants defense, right? When you plug him in with the Jets defense, his production is going to go through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Other facts about him, he's bigger than Hassan Reddick. He's stronger than Hassan Reddick. His wingspan is more than Hassan Reddick, right? And his 40 time is only a tenth of a second slower than Hassan Reddick, despite the fact that he's taller and bigger. So this guy, he did more bench presses than Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick, by the way, was about in the 50th percentile for a number of bench presses at 225.
Yeah.
Our boy Aziz, hopefully that he puts on the Jets uniform, in the top 10%, top 10% in strength. And was, the PFF, PBB, whatever, all those profiles. He was in the number 1 in his draft class as top prospects at defensive end. And then it fluctuates because is he a linebacker? Is he a defensive end? Tomato. But yes, I think they could get him if you're truly all in. What's great about this is, unlike Jerry Jones all in, but what's great about this all in is it would not cost you anything. If you had a solid contributor that you could sign for $6 to $8 million a year for the next 4 years, and he's going to go back to that rookie production when you plug him in the Jets defense. For once, solid idea, nice job. Now we need to get Joe Douglas on the phone and have him waddle down the hallway and make this deal.
Yeah, just to add a couple more nuggets. Again, the basis for this and other deals are the team. So, like, the Giants suck. They just lost again on Thursday Night Football. So, as they continue to go towards a tanking model, they wouldn't need this rental that clearly they don't seem to plan on re-signing. They're not playing him a lot, and they're relying on other guys. So that's a key ingredient to all of this that I failed to mention in the opening pitch, is that the Giants are not a good football team. If they were the Jets, if they were 2-1 and heading into this week 4, they obviously already played their week 4, but if they were moving and grooving, they had sights for the playoffs, then it would make sense for them to just keep Ojulari and try to rack up sacks and all that stuff and do the same thing I just said for the Jets. But because it seems like they are headed clearly for the other direction, I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. The only part that I would push back maybe on you is that my acquiring of Aziz, to me, I'm not even thinking about Hassan Reddick, because like the pass rushing rotation was supposed to be Jermaine Johnson, Hassan Reddick, and Will McDonald. But of course, Hassan is MIA right now, so remove that piece in the puzzle. Jermaine's Achilles exploded, remove him from the puzzle. So we have Will, but we don't have either of the other 2 holes filled. Aziz, in theory, would help fill one of the 2 holes. So I'm still more than open to Hassan Reddick eventually showing up and joining the rotation and seeing what happens. So I'm not sure if this adds to the epitaph, but it increases the Jets' leverage position, certainly, by having another guy that they can rely on. But no, I'd certainly be open. Again, I'd love for him to report tomorrow. He's not going to. But whenever he decides to report, and I think, again, I've heard a lot of Jets people out in our universe say, after the Rich Samini thing that came out, that, he's never going to play for the Jets. again, outside of the Jets relenting, which there is no reason for them to relent unless a team just came to them and offered a cajillion first-round picks or something. It makes no sense to hit the eject button ahead of the trade deadline because you have his rights. So, and you don't want to help out like if you trade him to the Cowboys, okay, they're in the opposite conference, take him, okay, and it's a good package, a trade, like okay, that makes sense. But if it's anyone in the AFC, why would you increase your competition and make them better in a key area like pass rushing? So to me, I'm not trading him, and he will eventually play here. We'll just see if he plays the minimum amount required, so he doesn't have to report back next year. But yeah, I'd like to grab a guy like Aziz, add him to the pile, and hopefully also get Reddick at some point as well.
Yeah, and so so you wouldn't trade like your best player to someone in the same division. You wouldn't do that, right? Because that would be just stupid.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure no one's ever done Saquon Barkley. Anyways, yeah, he's got nothing left in the tank, and then obviously the Giants don't need him because they got that Singletary guy who can rush for at least 30 yards a game. But to your point, sure. Just for Hassan Reddick, right? Here's the deal: he's going to come in before week 6. Like that's the milestone, right?
I think it's a little later than that. I have to get the exact date. Someone has told me it's like November range, so it's before. So week 6 is too early. It's a little bit later. It's like somewhere in that. Again, I have to keep getting the date. I keep messing it up. It's something like week 9, week 10, week 11. It's somewhere a little bit deeper than we're talking about here.
Okay, I thought there was some trigger at at week 6 for it to count as a season, but maybe it's different. Maybe that's moved to the CBA or whatever it was. I think it was week 6 at some point. But anyways, right, whatever that deadline is, that to make this count as an NFL season, that he will then not be under the Jets' auspice, right? That's the only reason that he will ever come in, right? To make this season, this contract count. And then next year not be under anyone's contract. There's a week. It used to be back in the day. It used to be week 6. I don't know what it is anymore. So that's what he wants. That's when he will come in. And then I don't know. If it's okay that people can come into training camp and quiet quit or whatever that is for you millennials, whatever that thing is called, or Gen ZZXY PDQ. Can you? Why wouldn't he show up and quiet quit during the season? What prevents that from happening?
Say that one more time. He shows up and
so if you can quiet quit in training camp, why couldn't Reddick show up now and quiet quit?
I mean, while I guess he could so let's go through the pieces here. So if he just shows up today, for instance.
That's right.
His 14.25 immediately is on the book. The moment he knocks on the door and walks through it, the Jets have to have his $14.25 million immediately count. So it hasn't because he hasn't reported. So that's one piece of the puzzle. That would immediately count no matter what. Quiet holdout, however you want to describe it, where he'd show up. So that piece of the puzzle would be in. But I'm curious how it would work if he refuses to play. We get the Brandon Ayuk thing where Brandon was just going to continue to hang around and not participate. The 49ers threatened him and said, hey, man, if you don't start practicing and playing, we're going to rule you out for the season. And they had some special clause they're going to enact on him, and it was starting to get nasty. It took a nasty turn there in 49ers land. He said, okay, I'll sign your guys' contract and let's go. Let's just do this thing. I believe there would be that same sort of action there, like conduct detrimental to the team if he just showed up to not play.
It hasn't been used very much, but the Bucs did it to someone you may have heard of, Keyshawn Johnson. Right. That they had him contract that. They essentially asked him to leave the team mid-year. That was back in that was back in the 2005 season. That for whatever reason
later than I thought. Okay,
yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2005. They said, "Yeah, thanks a lot, but we don't need your services anymore." And I don't know what the end result is, but they fined him and everything else. So I do remember that. And then it was a big hubbaloo. But yeah, so who knows? In the end, wouldn't the games he was fined, that doesn't count against him, right? He would get
No,
a fraction of it, right?
it still does, unfortunately. So yeah, the full 14.25 would still count against the cap for the Jets. Even the fine games that he loses, those fines go to the NFL, and that goes to their charity effort. So the 14.25 still counts, and that money goes to the NFL's. They have like 3 or 4 charities that are picked out. That's where that fine money goes.
Anyways,
So.
but yeah, no, I think this is a great trade. I would go if they could make it happen. Go make it happen right now. Bring him in, whether you have Hassan Reddick down the road or not. You got to make up for the injuries that we've had, and so 1,000%, he would be. And I think, unlike Reddick, who if he ever suits up for the Jets, I don't think we won't see him play a snap in 2025 for the Jets, regardless of what happens. We could get Aziz in for a long-term deal, which would be, and I think he would be reasonably cheap.
Yeah, I'd be open to both. Again, if you bring him in as a rental and he's just a hired hitman, like great. If you bring him in and sign him immediately and you have a rotational pass rusher who's incredibly young and you add him to the rotation and sign him ahead of time, which a lot of people wish the Jets would have done with Huff in the middle, because like the same thing but different, because Ojulari has made better money as a second-round pick as opposed to an undrafted free agent like Bryce Huff was. But, Ojulari hasn't tasted the real money yet. Again, don't cry him rivers. He's going to make by the end of the season just under $7 million in 4 years. Not too shabby, not including any sponsorships or anything that he has outside of football. So that's pretty good. But if the Jets came through with the trade and, to your point, offered the money that, like, hey, that $7 million, you'd be making that per year, pal. On this, that could be pretty intriguing to say. The financial security, let's go after that. So that could be really tempting. And like I said, or if it was the other side, I'd be certainly open to that. Let's before we open up the phone line, just a couple of Robert Saleh nuggets from yesterday. This came in obviously after our Boy Green Daily show. 2 injury notes. Morgan Moses is out. Not a surprise. We knew that he was going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. The good news is, as we talked about earlier this week, no IR for Morgan Moses, which means they don't expect him to miss 4 games, which is the minimum you have to miss if you are placed on IR. So they're kind of expecting him, from what it sounds like, he's going to miss this week. He's going to miss the London trip, and it sounds like there's a real chance he'll be there for the Week 6 Monday Night Football game, and if not, he would be there for the Pittsburgh trip. So that's the good news on that front. And then C.J. Mosley, doubtful with that toe injury. Mosley and the Jets have both said they don't want him playing unless he's 100%. If you're doubtful, that pretty much sounds like you're not 100%. So it looks like both of those. Well, Morgan's definitely out, and C.J. Mosley, it looks like he's certainly going to miss Sunday's game against the Broncos.
Right. Are we going to talk about the Broncos game before we open it up, or
we will. The only last nugget I want to get in real quick, then we could jump right into the Broncos stuff. Also, Mike Williams no longer on a pitch count. There you go. Great news, Jet fans. He will continue to work himself into the rotation. They're not holding him back like you would a player that was either hurt, or like in his case, he was recovering. But you get the point that old Mike Williams no longer on a pitch count, so that's good news. So pick up Mike Williams wherever you can in your fantasy leagues, people, and he should continue to get a better rotation. But sure, certainly, let's before we open up the phone lines, let's talk some Jets Broncos. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I would. We'll do the prediction after, and sure. I know you've already been talking about it, but. Here's what I will say.
Okay.
This is going to be a harder game than when we did the season breakdown. I won't tell you my prediction, but this game is going to be, that's a nice face. You look like one of the guys from Planet of the Apes. This is going to be a harder game than we anticipated. I'll just give you some thoughts, right?
Do tell.
The Broncos have played tougher competition to date than the Jets have. The Broncos stats are almost identical to the Jets for offense. Passing yards, rushing yards. Yep, minimum wage. Look, go ahead and look it up while I keep talking. Go ahead and look it up.
Bo Nix has no passing touchdowns yet. 0.
Yeah, I said, right, offensive stats. Passing yards.
An offensive stats.
Passing yards within 50 yards. Rushing yards within like 20. Right? Sacks. They're both in the top 5 in the league. Right? I'm telling you, we cannot sleep on the Denver Broncos, right? They beat a team last week. Anybody that picked that game right, you're a liar, right? That they blew out, right? the Tampa Bay Bucks, who people were talking about, hey, man,
in Tampa.
This team is going somewhere. They put Baker Mayfield on his ass 7 times, right? So they have a solid defense, right? Bo Nix hasn't thrown a pass, but he is a dual threat. And he didn't throw a pick last week against Tampa Bay. He's figured out he's a rookie. I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm saying this is a much more difficult. When we were thinking about it, we both broke down the game 3 or 4 months ago. Maybe it was not long ago. But anyways, we broke it down, right? In our heads, we almost didn't even talk about this game. I'm saying it's going to be – we didn't know who the quarterback was going to be. Now we know who the quarterback's going to be. We know what's the defense look like year in, year out. This team, this is not the defense that gave up 5,000 points to the concussion boy. So this team is going to be more difficult. That's all I'm saying. We can't sleep on them.
Yeah, I guess that's just where I am completely sleeping on the I'm completely overlooking the Broncos. I'm sleeping on the Broncos. I am every word in between on the Broncos. And I
heard you think they're going to curb stomp them. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Okay. And I'm not predicting or even alluding before people get wound up to a loss. Yeah. I don't think that. I think it's going to be a tougher game than we anticipate. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like for instance, Bo Nix is the leading rusher for the Denver Broncos, and this is where so let's go stat by stat. So Bo Nix doesn't have a passing touchdown yet. So you're like, okay, passing just isn't happening for the Broncos. They must be a great rushing team then. That's where they're focusing, right? Like Daredevil, you take away one of the traits, another part of the trait has to suddenly elevate. You go to the rushing. Bo Nix is their leading rusher, and their top leading running back has 50 yards rushing through the first 3 games of the season. That's where I'm like,
I think you got to go back and look. I think their leading rusher behind Bo Nix has 80 yards at 8 yards a clip.
Tyler Beatty, who they picked up in the middle of the season. I'm saying so let me correct myself.
Okay.
Their star running back, quote unquote, is Javonte Williams. Their backup running back heading into the season, Jaleel McLaughlin. Both of those guys are at 2.2 per carry. Tyler Beatty, who is their leading rusher as a running back, not as an overall player, was picked up in the middle of the season. So in all of these, 70, I believe, of these 86 rushing yards came last week against Tampa. So their normal running, even him, let's just use Tyler Beatty, his 86 yards rushing, and he's only played in 2 of the 3 games this season. So he's averaging 44 yards or 43 yards rushing per game. That sounds terrible.
I don't think you look at it that way. I look at it, he's touched the ball 10 times and has 80 yards rushing.
Okay, right? How about this? He has 86 yards rushing. He has a long of 43. One of the carries went for 43 yards. If you take that away, he only has 43 yards rushing on 9 other carries.
Right, and so what is that? About 5 yards a carry.
Sure, but it's one guy. So that, I don't know how we can extrapolate that number.
Well, if you start taking off, if you did that for everybody, so if you take away Breece Hall's big runs, right?
Yeah,
and then, after you take that out of the way,
one singular run. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's a smaller sample size.
Well,
but their scheme is Bo Nix to run the ball. It's not by accident. That's his game. That's like saying. Because I will tell you that everybody loves Lamar Jackson, right? Yeah. He doesn't throw the ball hardly ever, right? And I mean his stats, statistically speaking, the NFL's MVP last year, his passing not much. He typically averages under 200 yards passing a game because that's his game. I'm saying, Bo Nix, that's part of the game plan for him is to run the ball. He's not running the ball because he's running away from being sacked, like the reason that Aaron Rodgers has the rushing yards. He is running because it's part of their scheme for him. That's why he's their leading rusher. Again, I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just trying to have you take off your green-colored glasses and see that this may be tougher than you think.
It's just difficult when you look at a couple of numbers. Like Aaron Rodgers has 5 touchdown passes. Bo Nix has 0. Aaron Rodgers is completing 67% of his passes. Bo Nix is only completing 62% of his passes. So Aaron Rodgers is more accurate. He has a better yards per attempt. It's at 7.3 yards. Bo Nix at a paltry 5.3 yards. I like all of these numbers I'm just seeing, and I'm just not seeing what you're saying. I'm all for it because, like I said, I think we got.
You don't see how 600
Minnesota,
yards and 630
Buffalo.
yards is about the same? You don't see
but
that?
Not getting scores in the end zone, and then not getting scores in the end zone in other places either. Like, is the running game have 5 touchdown or 5 touchdown runs? Let me take a look. Oh yeah, Bo Nix has 2 touchdown rushes. They have 3 total rushing touchdowns so far this season. So combine the passing and rushing. They have 3 touchdowns so far as an offense so far this season. That's including a Jaleel McLaughlin touchdown. Let's go to the Jets. So the Jets have 6 touchdown passes so far this season and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So they have 9 touchdowns to the Broncos 3.
The offensive output is similar. The offensive output is similar, and the Jets have played significantly worse teams.
Boy.
I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm telling you to come back to reality. You played the fucking Patriots for Christ's sakes.
They beat the Bengals.
Everyone apparently is beating the Bengals. But
they pushed the Seahawks to overtime. The undefeated Seahawks that beat the Broncos.
Boy delusion instead of boy green. All I'm asking you to do is recognize that this could be a sleeper game that come back to bite us, and the Jets cannot afford to have that happen on their way to 5-1, which is still my prediction. I'm saying you can't. Like you are, well, we're just going to curb stomp them. I hope that's true. But I hope that Robert Saleh is more intelligent than you are. Anyways, this monster can could be more intelligent than you are sometimes. But it's going to be more challenging than you think. That's all I'm saying. I am not saying that they're going to lose the Broncos.
Yeah, again, you make it seem as if my green color glasses, every game is a blowout win. I see that the game next week against Vikings, very difficult. The
last 3 games in a row, you said they were going to be, including this one, we're going to be blowout wins. You've been right 1 out of 2. You said they were going to.
The 49ers was going to be a blowout win.
I'm not counting the Titans. 3 games counting this one.
3 games.
3 games counting this one is what I said.
Okay.
3 games counting this one. You said you're going to curb stomp them. You said they were going to do that to Patriots. You're right there. You said they were going to do it to the Titans. Didn't work out that way. Those are the 3 games.
So one hasn't. So I have a 50. I'm batting 500. 500's getting me in the Hall of Fame in baseball. If I'm batting 500, not too shabby. You said we have 3 games.
And then if you put it in different perspective, crossing the street if you're 50-50 is not so good. If you don't make it across
which side of the 50,
1 out of 2 times.
Again, I just don't see it. I see that the Vikings are going to be difficult. I see the Bills are going to be difficult. I guess the color of the glass has changed depending on the sunlight hitting it. I'm seeing very clearly that those games are going to be tough. I don't see how a rookie quarterback who stinks, who's had 1 good game, and even in his 1 good game still hasn't had a passing touchdown yet. It's a quarterback-driven league. It feels like anyone that's vying for Bo Nix right now is giving the Zach Wilson argument, where he had no choice. If you just really highlight this very small area, not bad. It feels like what we had to do as Jet fans when we had Zach Wilson as our quarterback. And then you see a real quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, I see. That's how it's supposed to look like. Bo Nix stinks. I mean, he friggin' stinks. I just don't get it. I'm fine saying games are going to be tough on the schedule. I said the 49ers would be tough. I said some of these other ones are going to be tough. I'm not seeing every game through green color glasses. I just see the Broncos and they friggin' stink.
Okay. I appreciate your opinion. I don't
you
think
don't, but that's
no.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay to say that I think you're wrong.
Of course, you say it every day of my life.
That's right. Yeah. So in this case, I don't think they stink. I didn't say that I didn't think they stink. I think they're not as bad as we thought they were a few months ago. That's what I'm saying.
Agree to disagree. I'll pull my anchorman out. Well, I'm not sure. Okay, let's open up the phone lines. We'll see.
We didn't do game predictions.
Please, as I'm setting that up, share your game prediction. It sounds like it's a Broncos blowout win. Looking forward to this.
I said this entire time that I was not picking them to win. I think it's going to be 28-24 Jets.
Oh, come on. How are they scoring 24 points? They haven't scored 24 points so far this season. Come on, man.
Okay.
Come on. How are they scoring 24 points against this Jets defense? Please. How?
8 field goals.
6 sixes? 3 defensive touchdowns? Maybe.
8
okay.
field goals.
That's the math. Come on, man. So what's the score going to be? The Jets are going to win 42-3. They're going to blow the barn doors off the Broncos. They stink. How about this? We've had 2 Denver Broncos insiders on the show this week, and I love doing that. I love going behind enemy lines. Both have admitted that, well, the Jets are probably going to curb stomp us. Again, guys, go check out the interviews. I think they're really interesting. And speaking of colored glasses, they don't seem to be having colored glasses on either side. They saw it straight and said, oh, boy, this looks like a bad matchup. Our Broncos pass protection is not great. The Jets have a better defense than the Buccaneers is what both insiders said this week. The way they've all lined it up is that, oh, boy, this does not look pretty, and they believe it's blowout Jet win. So if the Broncos people are seeing it, I'm seeing it. I don't know how anyone else isn't seeing it, that it just seems clear as day when you go matchup by matchup, you go position by position. Where did the Broncos win? I'm still waiting to find one win anywhere on the team. And I
didn't say they would win. Again,
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying me. I'm trying. So you say, Paul, you got to relook at this game. I'm like, okay, let me go back. Let me go back to things. And I'm like looking at things to try to see how I can go, you know what? You're right, Dad. The Broncos are better at this or that, and this is why it's going to be a tougher game. But as I look back, I'm going through everything. I'm like, nope. Okay, I don't know where we're going here, where I can flip to your side. That's all. That's it.
I don't need you to flip my side. I didn't say that Broncos were better than the Jets in any category. I just said they weren't. that the gap in talent. I said the gap in talent wasn't as large as we had surmised a few months ago. That's what I said.
Based on what? What's like they just lost their best defensive players out for the season with a torn ACL. Their linebacker.
Well, I've been saying it the whole time. If you maybe those things you put in your ears, you can clean them out every once in a while, and that that'd help you out.
Okay, like I said, let's see what the fans say. Let's open up. So wait, your official prediction is what, 28-24?
That's right. Come on. And what was yours? 42-3.
Okay, how about this? Okay, well, let's try to find somewhere in between because we're obviously on polar opposites of this thing. We could do, as Badshaw did a couple of days ago, we could do a Boy Green Coffee Club membership.
I'm not betting on the Broncos. Why would I do
on it
that?
Being
I'm
a closer
giving
game.
My thoughts. That's all. That's what this is all about.
How about we do this? You can choose to decline what I'm about to say. So let me just put it this way. Let's do the spread. The spread's a great place to go. The spread, the last time I checked, is 7 or 7.5. I'll take either. So you're telling me that the Broncos are going to cover the spread. So they will lose
giving my
by
opinion
a touchdown.
Of the team. I'm not going to bet or anything like that. Let's roll the tape back to you said what the 49ers score was going to be. Let's roll the tape back to see what you said the Tennessee game was. You got those completely wrong. So we may look back after Sunday, and I may be wrong. All I'm saying that you cannot get through your head is that they are better than we thought they were. That's it.
Doc, were you going too fast in the DeLorean when you were going back in time to some of those previous games? No. What about this one right now? I'm just saying that you think it's going to be a closer game. Then let's put some scratch on it and say a spread, a touchdown. Can the Broncos keep it within a touchdown? Can they do that? You seem to believe they can. I'm giving you 7.5 points.
So here's this. You know what else I'm not going to bet on?
Okay, what's that?
If a car passes by in the street and I go, I think that car is pretty fast. Would you like to bet on that? No, my opinion is I think the car could be pretty fast.
But I don't feel confident enough where I would.
You asked me a question, what I thought, I gave it to you. So wind it down, Sparky.
Okay, that's fine. Feel free to punt. I'm sure the Cowboys will be doing a lot of that this season. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We've got Hep here on the show. What's up, Hep?
Hi, guys. It's a sad day for your boy Hep.
Oh, no.
Put things in perspective. I think I might be taking the trip to say goodbye to my dad.
Man, that sucks. I'm sorry, Hep.
Yeah, it's a lot of. He was doing good, and then all of a sudden, a lot of stuff came. So I'm just going to say to you guys and to all your fans, and give your dad a call today and tell him you love him. I know dads and sons they got some stuff happening sometimes with each other, but in the big run is your dads love you and they want the best for you. Yeah. And kids are just trying to find their way in the world, Yeah. So if you have all your prayer warriors out there, if you have it, do what you got to do. Love you guys.
Appreciate that, Hap. And this picture right here, my dad knows exactly what you're talking about. This is my grandpa. This is the reason I'm a Jet fan. I don't know how this is showing on screen, but this is the reason I'm a Jet fan. There it is. My little daughter, Zariah Luna. my grandpa, and my dad. All us generations of Esden together. So, unfortunately, we lost my grandpa and my dad's dad. And unfortunately, Hep, we know exactly what you're talking about. So, yeah, my dad, is there anything you want to share or not share on that?
Yeah, it's I know where you're at, Hep. A year ago was when my father was in the hospital and going through it. So spend all the time you can with him because you'll remember that you were there.
So 100%. We're thinking of you, Hep. That sucks, man. That's that absolutely stinks. And the chat is giving you some love and well thought. Let's send all our love out there to Hep. All right, let's go to our sculptor, NY Jets FL here. Well, what is he sculpting today?
Grass today, Paul. Good morning.
Okay, grass. Right. Wow,
Saturday
really
is lawn day. You can't figure that out. You say the same thing every week, and he's doing the same thing every week.
He doesn't only call on Saturdays; he calls all kinds of times.
Every time I'm on, he calls on Saturday from his garage because he is either cutting or about to cut his grass. You have the memory span of a gnat.
Well, Dad, just because you flip a coin 10 times in a row, it's heads 10 times in a row, does not mean it's heads 11 times in a row. I know that's where you would lead to believe, but sometimes it could go on the other side.
Calm down, Yogi.
And one of these times,
right,
it's going to happen. Okay. Anywho, what's up, NY Jets FL?
We're in post hurricane cleanup mode, which is basically branches. It wasn't too bad here.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah.
Hep, prayers to you. I mean, that's not an easy thing. I lost both my parents already, so you just have to be with them as much as possible, no matter how torturous it is if they're sick. Just then you won't have any regrets later, just based on that. Onto the Jets, Paul Senior. I think you are a little bit struck by the fact that the Cowboys' season is imploding. Okay, so I feel a little on edge more than normal. My friend who was a Cowboy fan actually proposed to trade all three of these players before the season, and he proved to be right. He said, I'd rather blow it up for a year or two, not sign CD, not sign Micah, and not sign Dak, and trade them all, get about 5 or 6 first rounders and reboot. So interesting what he said. The Jets need to come out in 13 personnel. I watched the Steeler game against the Broncos. Okay, Bo Nix had 260 yards passing, 2 picks, no touchdowns, and he was the leading rusher with 25 yards of rushing. Okay, Steelers had about 150 yards of rushing. I say we come out in 13 personnel and take Braylon Allen and you put him in the backfield and you run him in there and you see if they can stop us. That's the way I would open the game up. Okay. And another reason why I say that is because you're going to play the Steelers in a couple weeks. So let's get the blueprint down for that game, because that's going to be one of these games where you're going to have to bring your chin strap, as they used to say.
Yeah.
And get dirty. So I'll start with that one.
Yeah, I agree, for sure. I hope we do have more of these Braylon Allen games. I like it for Pittsburgh. That defense is sick, and they got like T.J. Watt and other really, really talented players on that defense that could, if Minka's healthy on the back end of that defense, they got a lot of things. So if you because I think the Jets just know that their offense is better. Their defense is really good. And if you just punch them in the mouth with simplistic stuff and see if Denver can stop it, and if they can, then you're just imposing your will physically. That puts pressure on old Denver on the other side. Let's see if you could keep up point-wise. And when they can't, all of a sudden the game can blow open. So, yeah, I don't mind going jumbo. I don't mind utilizing Braylon. Braylon was our leading rusher last week, which is crazy to think about. You know, he's got a lot of juice as a youngster, and they should utilize him in these kind of situations. I love that kind of game plan. What say you, Pop?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The way to come out is in the I formation, 12 formation, whatever you like to call that, and then you pound it. And I would – to his point, I would start Agent Zero in this game, and then after a few punch in the mouth sandwiches, right, and then all of a sudden, where's that Mike Williams? Why is there no one near Mike Williams? He's 50 yards downfield. Oh, he's in the end zone, right? And I think that's the way. I think you keep them on their heels with that, and you don't give the opportunity for this game, which should be a blowout. We don't get pass happy because we spread the ball around against the Patriots, because eventually Denver is putting some sacks on the board. We don't put Aaron Rodgers at risk, and we pound them and then let the play action do what it's supposed to do. So I agree, that is the strategy. If they come out winging the ball all over the place, I think that, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but they have the ability to get to the quarterback, and we want Aaron Rodgers for 17 games. So I think the pounding the rock is the way to go.
You know what's funny? Paul? When we came out against the Patriots, everyone's like, "Oh, Ramondre Stevens is going to run all over us. We can't stop the run." If we just contain Bo Nix and not give up any running plays, you're forcing Bo Nix in third and longs, and you can even spy him or play a lot of zone then, or mix it up, blitz and back up and play zone blitz, whatever. He's a young quarterback. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. I can see a defensive touchdown finally this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything is going to be a blowout in these days. You never know in these games. But I'll take a 10-point win and healthy and just move on to the next week. And I really think you're going to see Buffalo. Really see if Buffalo's a good team this week. That's the team you're going to see. Baltimore not exactly was lighting it up, but this is the week we'll see if Buffalo can. Their defense has to step up in this game. Lamar's a serious weapon. Josh Allen is God, but we'll see if he is this week.
No doubt about it.
I would say, one of a well executed run pass option or run option. You know what I'm talking about with, when you do that, you go back to when Georgia Tech decided a long time ago, right, that we don't have the talent. People aren't coming in when they come to Georgia, right, as a skill position player. They're not coming to Georgia Tech, right? And so they just did, they had that triple option like Navy runs
for a long time. Yeah,
for a long time, not anymore. And then when you execute those things, when Lamar Jackson executes that, right, when you execute to perfection, or as close as Lamar Jackson runs it, it is very near impossible to do, no matter how good your defense, because every time it comes down to one player making one decision or being quick enough, which is not the case with Lamar Jackson. You're not going to be quicker than Lamar Jackson. You got to make one decision, and then that's what that is all about. So that's the difficulty. So, it'll be interesting. I think the Jets defense is capable of doing it. And I don't have a lot of history of watching or knowledge about Bo Nix. But I will say that, going to that run pass option quarterback keeper, that is, if you execute it well, it's one of the best offensive schemes out there. Now, most people can't.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. Yeah, Bo Nix has played more games in college than any quarterback of all time. Obviously, he's benefited by the COVID rule, but he played like 60 games in college for a variety of universities. So he's more experienced than your typical rookie quarterback coming in. But the stat that I love, and I've loved this week, is Bo Nix against pressure. This season, Bo Nix against pressure is 17 of 38 for 170 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, and 2 picks. And on the same token, the Jets have the highest pressure rate per snap in the league at 44.7%. Shout out to our boy Will Parkinson for that stat. I'm doing the Jacoby Brissett package, where I am I am run blitzing, I am pass blitzing, I'm everything blitzing. Bo Nix, and I'm going to dare Bo Nix to beat us, with his arm. And if he can, God bless, the Jets deserve to lose. If he can't, then the calculation worked appropriately with it coming in. And that's 1,000% what I'm doing. They don't seem to have even like I gave. So here's a perfect example, right? You think a certain thing of a matchup, and then you talk to people from the other side, like, "Ooh, okay, I overrated that." One player is Cortland Sutton, who I think is terrific, a terrific player. Jet fans were hoping, maybe the Broncos will trade him to us and we'll have another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Phil Milani told me earlier this week that they want Courtland Sutton to be this game-changing player at wide receiver that can consistently create separation. But Phil Milani told us, our Broncos insider earlier this week that used to work for the team, he's just not that guy. And he just doesn't have that with him. He's just this really good number 2 receiver, but he's not a number 1 wide receiver that can create that. And that's their top guy. So if he can't do that, that gives me even more credence to the belief of just going crazy, blitz pressure, and again, forcing Bo Nix to try to make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what. And that's
right.
that'd be my ideal strategy heading into this game on Sunday.
Yeah, I wasn't actually going to bring it up, but you know what? The thing that jumped out at me, and this is not anything about our previous conversation, is the top 2 receivers for the Broncos have more receiving yards than the top 2 receivers for the Jets. I was shocked by that. It's not by a wide margin. It was just a thing. I was just looking at it as in preparation for the show, and until you just talked about Sutton, I wasn't gonna bring it up. But that stat was surprising to me. But I think you're right, putting the pressure on him, and it's not by a wide margin, but number 1 receiver for the Broncos has, 30 some odd yards more. Number 2 has 20 yards more than the number 2 for the Jets. It was again surprising to me as we were there watching it live.
Yeah, it sounds surprising on the surface, and then to me, the more I think about that stat that you mentioned, the Jets have more mouths to feed, which is what we wanted from Rodgers. We didn't see it week 1. We saw it in weeks 2 and 3 of spreading the rock. Tyler Conklin having his game. We're like, oh, there we go. Mike Williams getting, exponentially from a production standpoint better from a week-to-week basis of getting obviously nothing week 1, 1 catch week 2, and then all of a sudden we got 3-4 catches against the Patriots, and now there's no pitch count anymore, according to Saleh. Like, I think that feeds into part of that reason. Again, it's still a surprising stat. It's still like wow, that's kind of interesting. But I think when I take it to the Tyler Conklin's, the Breece Hall, like the Jets having more success in pure rushing situations, Braylon Allen, obviously, and you start spreading the numbers, you're like, oh, okay. So that's why they're force funneling it to those 2 guys because it seems like they have no other choice. Jets have a buffet of choices and are able to kind of, spread the butter evenly on the toast. But still, no, that's a worthwhile nugget.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I would say, though, however, one of the games, I think it was a Titans game. I could be wrong, but where Aaron only threw it to 3 players.
49ers.
49ers.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I agree with you. It was just kind of surprising.
Yeah, very much so. So, like I said, we'll see what ultimately is the truth on this Denver Broncos game. The Jets are at home, and then we have the London trip, which is coming up the following week. We have the Hop on Pop merch, as my father is wearing. It took long enough with our shipping overlords finally getting that in there. Of course, the Boy Green merch shop is down below. We are in construction on the Boy Green Coffee Club shirt. There's been a lot of requests for it. I want to make sure we get it right, have the right colors and everything else from that perspective, making sure that shirt is right. So as soon as that is officially designed and released, we guys will let you know about the Boy Green Coffee Club shirts. We have 500 people in the room, so make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, and spread the love. But like I said, we'll see on this game. We'll see if it is close. Is it closer than we anticipate? Sometimes that happens with games. You think it's this, and it ends up being that. That will be interesting because the level of competition to me dramatically increases once we get past Denver. Minnesota obviously is undefeated heading into this week. We'll see what they are on Sunday. You've got Buffalo, who is undefeated, and they've looked awesome, obviously. And then you go after that to Pittsburgh, and then you finish off the New England road trip, and there's just a lot of factors that go into that. Well, let's get another caller in the mix here. He is the creator of these emojis, and eventually will be tasked with creating a special one for Johnny Boy, which a lot of people have had some creative responses, by the way, for that as well. And wow, this works the same if we get a super chat during the show that we hear from my daughter, aka Senior's granddaughter.
Wow.
buy Boy Green merch. There you go. From, well, my father in the middle of the show doing some super chat action. So you guys can check that out again in the YouTube description down below. We've got all kinds of different merch, including, like I said, we're working on the Boy Green Coffee Club shirt. We should have that out in the next couple of days, which will be great. So shout out to my father for the YouTube super chat action, which is terrific. Like I said, we're 31 members away from old Johnny Boy getting his emoji. And there's been a lot of people that have had some creative suggestions on what that emoji should look like. I'm kind of curious what the final product ends up being on that realm. So let's go to the co-host of Johnny Boy, and that's here on these Sundays where we get the Jets match game. We've got Snowball gracing us with his presence. What's up, Snowball?
Wide.
That's right. We
And
get to
wider.
meet Snowball. We get to meet Snowball at
We
the
did.
Jets Patriots game.
I
which
haven't
was
washed
awesome.
my hands since I shook hands with him.
Wow, that's gross.
I haven't watched. I gave you a hug. I haven't watched my entire body.
Yep.
Wow. Okay,
Nice.
that's you beat me.
That escalated quickly.
You're welcome. Just wanted to say it was a pleasure meeting both of you at the Jet game last week. It was really nice to meet the family and become a part of it.
That's right.
And listen, I think Paul Jr. is correct. This is going to be a route beyond routes. It's just going to, New England was a warm up. This is going to be the culmination of a well-oiled machine. They know what they need to do. You saw them each week. We're incorporating a new part, so it's like it's like modifying a car. Every week we're just putting something else on, ground effects, new exhaust pipe, all this stuff. Beefing up the engine. It's getting better. So I just think I'm not overlooking them, but like I put it in the chat before, the dual threat from Bo Nix is 2 legs, and that's about it. So that it's going to happen. So we are winning. I am not sleeping on them, but we're winning. If we don't beat them by at least 14 points, I'll be disappointed.
Boom. Okay.
Fair enough.
And so the one thing I would say, we haven't even said this part yet, which is why I also feel so confident in this blowout, is beyond all the stats and everything we've said. Aaron Rodgers, if you've read his book, which by the way, it's behind this graphic of Paul Boyd Green, so you can't see it, but the Aaron Rodgers book is right there.
It's in the
There are
darkness back there.
Yeah, that's yeah. There you go. It's in the darkness back there. Like Aaron Rodgers holds grudges his entire life. Like some kid disrespected him at 7 years of age, and he still remembers it to this day. So he's not going to forget the Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett disrespect a year ago. So with all of that too, you add that into all the stats, he's going to want to do everything in his power to embarrass the Denver Broncos. And that's another reason why I just feel so confident in this blowout. Besides what all the stats and everything else says, like Aaron Rodgers himself, I think this is one he certainly had circled on the calendar.
I remember Robert Saleh told Aaron Rodgers to push his chair in last year, and Aaron wouldn't give him a hug last week. So,
yeah, there we go. Wow. Snowball, what do we have coming up for the Jets match game today?
Tomorrow we will have.
Oh yeah, today's Saturday. I'm an
it's
idiot.
on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Geez,
Come on.
It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah,
if you want to watch,
Saturday.
past episodes.
Yes.
Just go and
that's a
watch a
channel.
past episode.
Yeah,
But
there you go.
yeah, we have the Return of the King. So it's Dan Murphy. He will be defending his crown.
Oh.
We have a new challenger, and don't think that I haven't included a couple of statements about Sean Payton and Aaron Rodgers, and some things about them. So we also have Mike Westhoff coming back.
Oh, that's a good
MetLife
point.
Stadium,
Yeah,
right?
JFM. Yeah, we got a lot of
Yeah, we
reunions
have a
people
lot
aren't
of
talking about.
ex-Jets coming back to MetLife Stadium. So, we'll see how we roll out the red carpet for them. I don't know. Yeah. But you'll see. We have some stuff on Jets Worldwide for them as well. So,
wide.
Can't wait for it. Snowball, thanks, brother.
Thanks. Have a great day. Enjoy.
All right, there we go.
Before you do your chime thing, I just want to say, this game, which I do believe the Jets will win, margin not outstanding, is very important before the next 3-pack of games, which the competition ramps up quickly, right?
Yes,
there's
quite.
The Vikings, the Bills, and the Steelers. So this is if there is a must win when you're 2-1, this is it with what's coming up ahead.
For sure. And think about this, how important this game is. The Jets are undefeated in the conference. They're undefeated in the division right now. adding more to that. This is when we talk about the 49ers, geez, that would have been a great win to have, but it had no impact on conference or playoff tiebreakers. This has impact on, I don't think Denver's going to be in the playoff conversation, but your AFC games. Those are some of the first metrics you look at when you go past head-to-head and this or that or division or whatever we're talking about. It gets pretty interesting. Ed Vargas, baby, getting in on all the love, which let's update the banner. We're 26 members away, baby. Thank you to Ed, another great person. We met him and his wife at the Jets-Patriots game, which was super cool. So let's count them out, baby.
Again, glad he only did 5.
Yeah, when someone drops a 25, that is going to be...
When you run out of fingers and digits, there's going to be a problem.
I guess we'll have to go somewhere else. But before we get to all that, let's reveal the 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club by Ed Vargas here. Gabriel Jimenez, Peter S., DeAndre Vega, Jet King, Big Rush 2112. You guys are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club. And Jared B just dropped the Discord link in there. To join our Discord, you have to be a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, so it's synced up. So if you attempt to join the Discord and you're not a Boy Green Coffee Club member, it won't give you access to anything. You'll just be in there, and it's kind of like you're outside of the club. You're kind of looking in through the window. You won't be able to comment or do anything or really see a lot of the content. So you have to be a Boy Green Coffee Club member to be able to have access to the Discord where me and my father do our exclusive NFL picks that you guys can check out and be a part of. That's also where I reveal to you some of the special guests that are coming up on the show, including for the very first time, an ESPN personality will join us on Boy Green Daily next week. That's never been on before. I'm looking forward to that one. Again, people in the Discord will know that before everybody else and so much more. So that is the fun of the Discord and, of course, the Boy Green Coffee Club, which, again, it's just a way for you guys to help support the show, which means a lot. And look at Ed Vargas chiming in. Hey, Paul, going to tomorrow's game. Hello, Mr. Eston. It was a pleasure meeting you and your wife. Yeah, Jets Broncos. I've heard some people say they believe this one might be even a bigger party than Jets Patriots because of all the buildup, kind of to what Snowball was saying about, adding things to the vehicle and adding accessories and things of that nature, that we already kind of built it up. And now we have all this hubbub coming into the Broncos game. So we'll see if that is indeed certainly the case. So, yeah, it was a nice meeting Ed Vargas and his wife.
Absolutely. Hey, who's just real quick, who's your top and bottom Batman actors?
Ooh, wow. Okay. Well, number one is obviously Christian Bale. I thought he was the best Batman. It's a lot of fun. Just kind of all of it, from the voice, which is super important, to playing the Clark Kent to the Superman, to be able to play the role of Bruce Wayne, I think is really important too. So you can't kind of gloss over that. So
okay,
he's number one.
You've got Christian Bale. Okay.
Yeah, the worst is obviously Ben Affleck. I mean, he was god awful. That was the worst Batman I've ever seen. And every once in a while, I say the stupid line where, "Wait, our mothers have the same first name? Okay, I won't kill you." What? That Batman versus Superman? That's one of the worst movies I've ever had the misfortune of ever watching. So yeah, Ben Affleck is definitely the worst Batman of all time.
All right, so I'm going to refine this, and I would say the best Batman on television, Adam West.
Yeah,
may he rest in peace. Is Batman. So, but going to movies was a question, and I've got like a 12-way tie for the worst. Believe it or not, 12 ways to exaggeration. I'll list them, but they're all pretty equally bad.
All right,
but I don't have Christian Bale as number one. I have Michael Keaton.
Interesting. So yeah, that's Alan. Alan is a Keaton guy. Yeah. I like him a lot.
And at first I struggled with conceptually when I heard it was going to be him for size and everything else.
Oh, a long time ago. Oh
yeah, a long time ago. But when he's holding that guy over the edge, who are you, anyways, man? I'm Batman. Yeah, that voice, that is phenomenal. Actually, he was just at a commencement ceremony, a graduation ceremony at some college. And he's wrapping up. I just have one last thing to say. It's only going to take a second. I'm Batman.
Oh, yeah. Did that crowd go crazy?
Yes, he did. So the worst to me is a tie. I think Kilmer, Clooney, and Affleck, they're all pretty terrible, frankly. But I did like Christian Bale as a close second to Michael Keaton. But yeah, I think Clooney was a goof. Affleck, obviously. And then Val Kilmer was an embarrassment for him to be bad. He does, and I love Val Kilmer. Just to be clear, Tombstone,
Sure.
Doc Holliday, one of the best movies ever. I'll Be Your Huckleberry, but just not a good Batman.
I will say, Alan already said it, but Heath Ledger to me was the best Joker of all time. The seriousness, the delivery, the why so serious. Man, so many in The Dark Knight. I mean, whew, that is clearly number. They've had a lot of weird iterations recently, although I've kind of enjoyed this weird, goofy Joaquin Phoenix thing. I've not seen it. I don't even know if the movie's out, but I've seen a lot of trailers come out.
There's 2 or 3 of them. I think there's going to be 2 of them, right? It'll be the second one.
Yeah, this one with Lady Gaga, I believe, is the second one. But I have not. If it's out, I haven't seen it. I have a child, so I don't know when I'm getting back to the movies. But I'd love to.
The answer is never.
Well, thank you for that.
I would say I did appreciate Heath Ledger. I would say that they're all different, so I don't think you can compare Jack Nicholson's Joker to Heath Ledger's.
It is. That's true. Yeah,
because I think Jack Nicholson did amazing. Like I don't know. I don't remember, but if there was an Oscar to be had, he did an amazing job. And then because they're just different characters, you can't really compare them. Batman is Batman, so the ones that suck. But the Joker with a different spin on it, right? Heath Ledger is completely different.
That's a fair point to bring on. I see my Holy King said, I think Jim Carrey should have played the Joker. He played the Riddler. I would have loved him because I think, again, because he could just be himself. He could have gone really goofy and crazy places with the Joker if he would have went in that direction, which would have, that would have been nice. And again, different, because obviously the Jim Carrey Joker to what we saw from Heath Ledger would just be,
And
totally
on a complete side note, right? They're doing some like Penguin thing on some
it's
service.
On Max. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I've
Danny DeVito did a phenomenal job as a Penguin. Gross, nasty.
Yeah, very. Even now, there's unfortunately people know what I'm talking about with the Penguin memes and gifs that exist. They're very disturbing.
They are
right now from back in the day. It's very nasty. I don't know.
I can't actually have Jersey Mike's if I think about that before I order. Now that he's their spokesman.
Is he? I didn't even know that.
You're probably seeing about 5,000 commercials with him and Jersey Mike's. You didn't realize it's him or something.
Yeah, I must just not be paying attention. So there you go. All right, we got another caller. Again, this is the guy who, again, is, let's check the counter, 26 members away from his emoji.
Wide.
Yeah, wide. Yeah.
Is that his head is wide or his hat brim
that
is
I'm not
wide?
sure, but what I will tell you is his lifespan is not getting wider. It's getting more narrow as he waits for this thing. He's going to die before he gets his emoji, for God's
26 members is pretty close.
Yeah, we're close, but this ain't horseshoes and hand grenades here. We gotta get over the top. So let's bring him in. Johnny Boy joining us here on the show. What's up, Johnny?
PG, Papa Esden, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
How's it going?
Oh, just exhausted as anything. But Boy Green, get ready, bro. I could tell you, man.
All right,
get ready.
I don't think that's going to prepare me for it, but I will attempt to. Yes.
Yeah, it probably won't.
By the way, just for the record, nothing wakes up Boy Green when he's sleeping.
I do sleep
absolutely nothing.
So
so I don't think it's going to be that big of a hardship for him.
Great. All right, phenomenal. Can't wait. Thanks, fiance.
Hey, I did have a question for Papa Esden real quick. What's his take on the new offensive coordinator is talking in regards to about the Jets possibly getting Max Crosby from the Oakland Raiders?
Yeah, Easy, our guy, yesterday said, we're all talking about Devontae Adams, this or that potentially happening. Easy OC, our resident offensive coordinator here on the show, said, let's get Max Crosby, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think he would be a good fit for the Jets, frankly.
Oh, wow.
And I would say that the Jets in the past, it's fluctuated, right? There's been personalities, right? Mark 99 tattooed on my ass, Gastineau, right?
That's right.
And Revis Island. But this, they have sauce, right? Don't get me wrong. But this is really, and they have Quentin. but this is really a team defense. They don't have, and Max Crosby, as good as he is, and he's very good, I don't think he's going to mesh into this team concept, right? And so that's just that's my take. There's my take. Max Crosby, phenomenal player, but the Jets are more of a team rather than a superstar, although they have superstars on that team. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just thought that's never gonna happen.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Kidding. And just your face seeing it was well worth the question itself, because you looked so confused when I was like, wait, what? That's never happening. So mission complete. BG, Papa Ezin's always a pleasure, man. It was dope meeting you guys. I am. If you guys can't hear my kid crying now.
Yes,
gotta go. That's the life right now. Later, guys. Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it. Back to your child.
Is this smell-o-vision? Do you smell that?
Yeah.
No, not that. I was smelling the bacon that's cooking.
Oh, I see. Well, perfect timing then. We got to get you a bacon T-shirt. Not sure how we haven't done that yet. So
we have the picture now. So there you go.
That's true. Yeah, actually, I could probably just do the. Let me put that in my notes. Bacon. That's going to be a popular seller. A bacon T-shirt for the Boy Green Coffee Club.
Yeah, there you can put it right beside the coffee mug.
Ah, there you go. Hey, we could even put it on a coffee mug. Great. Just put it in the notes. We'll work on that. So, Pop, thanks for joining us. Certainly colorful conversation and passionate, unlike the other. So, looking forward to our next interaction, which will be coming up. We got a morning football game for the Jets next week. So, Jets-Vikings. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah. And I'd just like to, as I've been thinking a lot about my dad as we approach, Facebook is whatever it is. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. And I will tell you that as it's almost a countdown to the 1-year anniversary of his death. So he was in the hospital, not doing well. So it's been to the forefront of my mind. So Hep, I understand where you're at. I understand where you're at. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And I would just say again, spending every minute you can or all the time you can with your dad as he nears the end of this life before he goes on to the next it'll be very important. So
yeah, and I would just for sure. And I would just echo the thoughts of what my father just said. And I just want to appreciate Hep for being vulnerable enough to share that. That couldn't have been easy either on this platform. So we've said it for Ricky, who obviously had a very serious loss, and our thoughts and love are sent out to Ricky and everybody. This is a family. So, and I hope the same way that one of the things I heard the most when we were out there doing the tailgate last week, Pop, is that people said it was cool that we just kind of lay out our cards on the table. When you're on the show, you're more than willing to talk about any family stuff that's happening. Obviously, I'm a very open book. I don't hold a lot back for things that are happening. So we just kind of let it all out there. And I think that makes it easier place for us all to kind of, as a community, just share when things are tough. And hopefully we can help pick each other up and vice versa and all over the place. So appreciate it. And Yo Holmes, everybody's saying they're singing Hep song, and hopefully that puts people in a better mood. I'll certainly play that at the end of the show here, but it's not easy, no doubt about it. I appreciate, for lack of a better word, that Hep was vulnerable enough to share that with us, and we thank him, and we're thinking of him, and that's just. It's just all to your point, the Facebook countdown thing. You get the little, for people who are not on Facebook, you get a notification on every Facebook thing of like, here are photos of something that happened a year ago or something. So it's just very evident. It's just, it is coming up all the time of seeing where memories and things were by that. So it's just incredibly difficult. So we're thinking about Hep. There's no doubt about it. Well, Dad, go get your bacon, and I'm sure those bacon shirts will be out soon. It sounds like people are begging for those bacon merch shirts, so those will be out soon. I am certain of it. But we appreciate you as always for calling, into the show each week. It's a cool way for us to always be in touch. That some people may not have the opportunity depending on their employment.
Nope, always a great time.
Okay, go Jets, and they're going to blow out the Broncos. So just prepare yourself for that. Appreciate it. Thanks, Bob. All right, let's get one more call, and I think we have our legend athlete of the month.
Hey, Paul, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going
great. Yeah, you ready for the Jets tomorrow? I mean, this Sunday.
Yeah,
It is tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Sunday.
What am I thinking today? Woo!
No, that's okay. It is tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
Well,
appreciate it. So, legend athlete of the month. What month was that? This September. It's already September already. So.
Yes, it is. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a big opportunity for me, and I've been doing Special Olympics for a long time, like 15 or 16 years. So basically, that's what I've been up to, and we're starting our basketball games in November, and this is my first time being in basketball. And
Wow! Well, congrats.
Yes, yep. And then writing a new Christmas song coming up pretty soon, so hope you guys will hear that. So.
Well, let us know when that Christmas song's out.
Yep. And then I'm in gonna be in America's Got Talent again.
Okay, can't wait. Thanks for calling in, man.
You're welcome, Paul. See you later.
All right, we'll see you next time. Our legend athlete of the month. Well, let's just all do this for Hep. We're gonna play it. We'll play it. We'll play an audio version of his first song, and then I'll play the second one. Let's just think of Hep. Here we go.
Okay. Boy Green Daily, we're talking Jets. We are the best. Forget the rest. We're up to date. We're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
And of course, the Hep Classic, which people have said it's a Worm song, that they're never going to forget it. Let's all think about Hep today, and all of you guys out there that are dealing with things. We were talking about people that are dealing with the hurricane coming through Florida. We obviously have a lot of our callers and listeners that are out there in Florida. There's people dealing with personal things, as we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. We're all a family, we're a community, and we appreciate it continuing to grow. Guys, let's play the Hep song for all you guys, and we will see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Hep, we're thinking about you, buddy.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. We're talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. You're talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets.